My mother and my father came from the island of Mytilene in Greece. My father was here in 1919, and he came as a tailor. And then he went back and married my mother and brought my mother here. He became a citizen first, and then he went back and he brought my mother over here, and they lived in Rahway and Metuchen, New Jersey. It was very, very simple. Very simple. My mother and my father were working. I was taking care of my sister. We didn't do anything. We played jacks, hide and seek. We didn't have, all the things that they have today. I don't even remember having a radio until we moved to Vermont. And television. Television didn't come until many, many years later. In fact, I was in New York City, and we were in Grand Central Station, and they had all the television stations up that they were just opening up. And we couldn't believe it. I mean, to me, it was something phenomenal. And after a few years, when it was, became available, we got one. But I was married by then. And that was, because I've been married 67 years. I used to like Flash Gordon in the funny papers. And I used to say, I'll never see these things. But I did. I saw Sputnik go up. I saw it all. I had taken a business course. I was not in the sciences. That never interested me, but it did interest me in the business end of it. My dad was really pushing me towards that too, and I was really more interested in that. And where we lived, it was a small town, and nobody had science there. I heard it on the radio, and I took my sister's bicycle, and I rushed downtown to my dad's shop, and I told my father that war had broken out. And I can't remember what he did, but I know that he was upset, very upset, because they had family in Europe. And he and his brothers actually, during the war, would buy all these, when they were able to buy all these surpluses and ship them over to their town so that the people could have clothes to wear, food to eat. And that was after the war, though. They couldn't do it during the war. And I married Effie Capetan, who was from Middletown, Connecticut. And we lived there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Bennington. We had a little restaurant there that we worked together. It was like going to a party every day. I mean, when we got too busy, the customers helped out. I mean, that's all. I mean, it's still a small town. I mean, when we got there, it was 14,000 people. It's still 14,000 people. They die, they get born. It hasn't really grown.
Nobody moves in.
And I got involved in the school district because my daughter was going to school. By then, I had a little girl. We didn't have a church over there, and I was a very good Episcopalian. In order to go to a Greek church, we had to travel through the snow and everything, and the roads were not the way they are today, to Troy, New York. And we didn't get there as frequently as we would have liked to. But the Episcopal Church was very close, and I grew up there. I became a Sunday school teacher. I started a junior choir. I was very involved. And then after about 10 years, my husband went into the photo finishing business. And we had that for another 10 years, and then we moved to Florida. And I didn't want to stay here at all. I wanted to go back home. And he says, no, we're going to stay here. He says, make up your mind. And I really am glad that he insisted that we stay here. And he was not a very religious person, but I said to him, if we're going to move, we have to find a Greek church. We're getting to be older and we need our own roots. And the motel that we were staying at, the woman said the church just opened up. So she gave me the number and I called, and Father Arthur's wife, Aspasia, answered. She says, please come, please come. That's when my husband decided that he liked it here, because he liked the people. There was, what, a handful. And we've been here now for almost 35 years. My son-in-law called us and said that Andrea was in labor, and we jumped in the car and we went up north. And he kept saying, don't come, don't come, don't come. And we jumped in the car and we drove up to New York. And we were there when the baby was born. And when I went into the nursery, she looked at me, and you know how babies are when they're born. She looked and she had a smirk on her face. And that's why I don't like this texting bit. I want to hear their voices, because you can tell what's going on. And they want you to get on the computers, and they want you to text. And I says, I refuse to. I says, I don't want any of that stuff. They brought me a computer twice. I says, take it out of here. I says, I don't want it. Life changes when you lose your mate. It really does. But there's still enough of us that we still manage to get around and do. I'm not a social bug. I don't mind staying home. I used to do a lot of entertaining, a lot of it. I don't do any of it anymore. I can't. I couldn't get the cups on the table. I mean, my hands are trembling. And I just can't do that like I used to. But we manage. And don't forget, family is very, very important. Your friends, you can't do without, but your family is very, very important. We have too much freedom. We have too much of everything. And we have forgotten what the true values of life are. You know, money we need, we have to, in order to survive. But greed is not good. And yet, you know, there are times that I watch television and I see young people, and there's a flicker of hope. There's some good kids out there. We're coming to an end of this film, and I want you to know I love all of you very, very much. I wish nothing but the best for you. I wish you lots of luck. I love you very much. And don't forget to call once in a while.